at that point, you're not there to play it safe. Like if you're not taking risks, you're not competing.
It's empowering, you know. I mean, anybody who's done a CrossFit workout, you finish your CrossFit workout, and you're like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
Like a hunger for competition and like that super intense structure, routine. I still had that desire.
Listen to the way people feel and the motivations for doing the things that they did. It was like they were describing me to a T.
I'm not trying to solve everything for you, but I know that sometimes you just need somebody to listen.
Learned the most is how to fill my cup by filling others.
Welcome to the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast. Join me as I talk with passionate people about their life's failures and successes, and most importantly, what keeps them hungry for more. What's up, dogs? This is T the Kid of the Hungry Dog Barbell Podcast, and this week I'm joined by Justin Quintero of the Counterculture Podcast. Justin have been on live before, rapping back and forth, mostly about music, but this time we sat down to talk about everything from Vince McMahon to CrossFit to how much time will Diddy do. Enjoy this episode. Peace. Do you have an inner monologue? So I've been like asking members at the gym that shit, right? Like, do you have an inner monologue? Like, does your all your thoughts thinking inside of your head right now?
Yes. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. I've seen that. I've seen this a lot too. Hiller said something about that too. Like, do you have a voice in your head type thing?
That's where I stole it from recently, right? I thought so too. It was one of the things where I kind of forgot, but shit. Hiller, there you go.
Yeah, that's funny. I definitely do, bro. Definitely there's like this inner dialogue all the time. It's like a voice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's funny that you bring that up because I asked Heather that because I'm like, damn, am I crazy? So I'm like, dude, do you have a voice in your head? Do you like think in words and thoughts, or how do you think? She's like, I guess I never really thought about that. But yeah, dude.
Right.
I'm like very that, and then like I think in vivid like imagery. Are you like that?
Like imagery, kind of. I feel like I think in like terms of action, like always like, what would I do? How would I react in like every situation, But so is it your voice? Like, do you hear it in your voice in your head, or is it someone else's voice?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I feel like it's like a mixture of both almost, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I have the voice, I think that's like my voice. That's like kind of, I don't know, conversational or whatever. And then there's this like other voice that like tells me when to not be a pussy, and it's like not me, it's like an external like force that's coming in,
Yo, big motivator right there. Don't be a pussy.
It's constant, dude. It's constant.
Sometimes you just got to cut it up like that. I love that, dude. So I asked the people at the gym that the other day, right? That's what I was saying. And this one girl says that she's got a voice in her head and it's a man's voice. I was like, oh my God, we need another whole 2-hour podcast just to deep dive into that one.
Right. There might be something else going on there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with that one too.
Oh yeah.
But so bro, like let's talk about kind of now and then like back it up, man. Like what made you want to hop on the microphone and start putting yourself out there like you do now?
Yeah, dude, that's a good question. I feel like a majority of my life has been spent creating some kind of content. So when I was a kid, I was in bands, and then I was in one band that did really well. And so, yeah, like tours, we were going to tour and all this stuff. We were in talks with like some people in California, all this stuff, right? So the plan was always to create content somehow. And then I realized at some point that I kind of gave that away, and my new art became coaching, but like it didn't give me as much of a creative outlet as I wanted. And so I'd always been on and off, like creating YouTube videos and like shorts or reels, just trying to find like something to pour into, right? And it's funny because I got in this relationship with Heather, and she had always told me like, geez, you can chop it up with anybody. Like you just don't shut up, because I'm always the person like find somebody at the Home Depot or some shit and just have like a 30-minute conversation. You know what I mean? I like to know about funny. People. I really like to know how people's brains work, and see what makes people tick. And I opened a gym, that, and some like drama stuff happened with that gym. The business kind of like dwindled out, and I found myself like really, I don't know how to say it, like a little bit lost again for the first time in years, right? So I read this book called Outwitting the Devil. Have you heard of it?
Oh no.
Dude, it's a really, really good book. I definitely recommend. I think it's Daniel Carnegie. No, it's not Daniel Carnegie. Maybe it is. I don't, regardless. I read this
Look up
book.
after.
Yeah, look it up. I read this book, and at some point he's just like, the whole book is the premise of like him having a conversation with the devil. And one of the things that the devil does to hold man back is he instills fear in them, whether it be through like schools, churches, or just indoctrination by society, right? And I started getting to thinking, a lot of these books that talk about enlightenment or like finding your purpose and stuff, they always come back to man finds his purpose when, like, you know, you find yourself in a dark moment or something. And it's always like within your true calling, like basically what you're supposed to do, what you're called to do. And so yeah, I was reading that book and some light switched on that was like, dude, I need to be doing a podcast. I need to go back to content, because throughout my entire life, like if I look at the trend, the themes are pretty common, right? I'm a believer that God gives you something when you're young and that stuff fizzles away due to society or whatever. And so yeah, it flipped at me like content. And then what's the progression of content till now? Podcasting. So that's kind of,
Yeah.
I know it's a long-winded answer, but that's how it all came to be.
No, that's dope. So like you talked about kind of in the beginning, you were making the early content. So like YouTube clips and shorts and stuff like that. What were you first making content about? Like what was it based around?
Yeah, so I think that the first way that I like got into content was creating fitness content. So fitness YouTube was a big thing like years ago, probably 10, 12 years ago. I
Yeah.
started seeing that trend and I hopped on it pretty quick, but I had always had this like little fear in me, like what if people find out that I'm making these YouTube videos or whatever, right? Because it was before people got paid and there was influencers and whatever. And yeah, so then as the years kind of go, I started more into Instagram, YouTube short, or like not YouTube actually. I would do some like chronic illness YouTube stuff because I have a chronic illness, and that was mainly just like a sales funnel to get clients, online clients. But then I started really like diving into, when I got into CrossFit, creating like content around CrossFit, like reels of just like me working out, motivational clips, like yelling at people, basically telling them to stop being pussies, stop being a loser, you know, that type of thing. And that actually, funny enough, some of my most viral content, I wouldn't say it's like super viral, but when reels came out, I started doing these shorts that were in ice barrels, and I'd like do these little motivational talks in a cold bath, you know, before cold baths were like super cool.
You
And
were at the front of the cold plunge.
I was that guy, dude.
That's funny.
No, it's I saw Eric Hinman and he like inspired me to like start doing ice barrels. And or
Did you
cold
do it
baths.
outside too, like on a deck, like with the sun coming up behind you?
So I tried that a couple times, like with the sunset. But
Yeah.
I think the more viral ones happen when like I live in Wisconsin, so it's like super cold. So I'd be out in winter, like with the snow everywhere, doing a ice bath. But yeah, that, and then yeah, dude. So I just basically I do some reels here and there if I feel it, but mostly podcasts, shorts, and then I actually do still have my other YouTube channel that I funnel clients through too.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
So you've been in like exercise for a while, right? Like when did you start, like when did you first walk into the gym? Like tell me about like your athletic background, like when you were a kid.
Yeah, so I actually started working out via P90X and Insanity. Do you remember that?
Let's go, of course, bro. What?
Yeah, dude.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
dude.
that's my shit.
Tony Horton and Sean, what was Sean's last name?
Was it Sean
Remember?
Taylor? Sean T? Is that who that dude was?
Yeah. Sean T. Yeah. Yeah,
Yo,
dude.
Sean
Those two
T,
are the
man.
goats, dude.
He's still going at it too, bro. I mean, he's got a little different kind of vibe going on right now, but he's still going at it.
That dude is a genetic freak, dude. He's crazy.
Nuts.
I
Yeah.
remember watching those commercials. I'd be like, they're really ripped like that because of these programs?
It's great. No, no way.
Hell
way.
no. Yeah, dude. So the story kind of goes, one day I was driving my car, an old Mercury Sable, right? I bought it for $300 off an aunt of mine. And
Let's go.
I'm driving down this road called Lake 5, and there's like a bump in the road. I'm in high school, probably like 16, and I hit the bump, and I had just got done eating a McGangbang from McDonald's. You know what that is, right? If you don't know what a McGangbang is, it's a McDouble, and then you put a McChicken in between it and smash it down. So I just got done eating one of those. Dude, for the first time ever, I felt my stomach jiggle. And I was like, oh, hell no, I got to get this taken care of.
I know exactly that feeling, bro. You know what my custom McDonald's meal was? I used to
Huh.
get the McChicken and have them put cheese on it, or
Oh yeah.
McChicken like two McChickens with cheese. Oh my god!
Yeah,
But yes,
fire.
stomach rumbling, just like you said every single time. But keep
Hell
going
yeah,
with the
dude.
story.
It's an immediate trip to the bathroom, dude.
Oh,
Yeah, bro. So yeah, and then from there I started P90X Insanity. And then there was like a local powerlifting gym. It was called Wisconsin Barbell. And so one day I walked in there and I remember I had to like beg my mom to like get me coaching because we were broke, right? And it was like $125 for the month or something. And so we walked in and they were running that special. And
damn it,
yeah, dude, that
Wisconsin. That's like that's probably like Tucson out in PA
yeah,
or
yeah.
New York. You know, that's crazy.
Yeah, dude, it was wild. So we walked in and then that kind of started my journey with powerlifting. I've been in love with the weights ever since.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro.
So you were working out through powerlifting, right? And like I know you give a little bit of hate to CrossFit sometimes now. We're gonna get to that. But you said you did some CrossFit, bro. Tell me about that. How did you get introduced to it? And like what's your earlier experiences like with it?
Yeah, so there's no hate towards CrossFit at all. I think what's interesting about like we'll get into that because what I think is interesting about the CrossFit world is um I feel like any constructive criticism that you have about CrossFit is taken
Oh,
as, like you just insulted someone's mom. You know what I mean? Like
seriously.
it's
Seriously.
wild. It's wild. So back in the day, for sure, dude, I had tons of hate for CrossFit because I didn't know shit about it, right? And then I got bit by the bug. But yeah, so what was the question? How did I get into CrossFit?
Yeah, based off of what you just said, right? So tell me the first time that you heard about it or saw it that like you were like in a hating mindset, you know?
Yeah, I don't remember the first time that I saw or heard about CrossFit, but I remember specifically being like, it had to have been like one of those fail videos because those were really big, like in 2013, 14, right, for CrossFit.
For sure.
And so like I said, I came up in a powerlifting gym and that's where I like even resided for, I don't know, 10 years of my fitness journey, maybe 8. And so
Yeah.
I remember seeing a video and it was the pull-ups and then they were doing like snatches too. And all of the round backs, snatching like that. And then because it's the early days, nobody was focused on like, efficiency or anything from what I can remember. And
Yeah.
I just remember being like, oh, those guys are gay. This is so stupid, like all this like foul shit. And then eventually COVID happened and our gym had like we got shut down, the powerlifting gym. And I rented space from the powerlifting gym and ran my business out of it. And so the thing that opened up the quickest was the CrossFit gym that I was actually living on top of. I was on like living on top of a box. And so one day I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna give this CrossFit thing a try. And so I walked in the gym and this coach, this is like it sticks with me, dude. It will be with me forever. The coach, like, he put us through the workout and bro, I was smoked. Smoked, absolutely rocked. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, I get it, dude. I understand. Like, I understand why
Yeah.
people like this. And then so I talked to the guy and I didn't know anything about it, right? I didn't know that you could compete. The only thing that I knew about was the games. That was it. That's the only thing I had ever been introduced to. And so I didn't know how you got there. I thought it was maybe something you just signed up for. And so I asked the dude, I was like, so do people compete in this thing? And he's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, there's competitions. I was like, oh, so how do you do? I'm just trying to get the low from him, right? I'm trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And he's like, he said to me, he goes, obviously you'll never make it to the games. So, and the conversation paused right there, dude, in my head. And
Oh.
done. Right there was like, I was like, this guy doesn't know me. He doesn't know anything about my athletic background. He blah, 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 blah. And then I had these aspirations of becoming a games athlete, as I think, like I've heard the story. Everybody thinks that
Yeah.
when they first start. But I remember
Yeah.
that
So
was the
my
one thing
mom thought
that,
I was gonna be one too, you know, shout out to
huh?
her. I said my
Your
mom
mom
thought I
thought
was
you?
gonna be one too. Yeah, shout out to
Yeah.
her.
And dude, so I was like, bro, I was pissed, dude. So like I took that to heart for like 3 years and gave as
That's
much as I could
funny.
to CrossFit. Yeah. And yeah, but I didn't know anything about like affiliate life or anything like that. So yeah.
Oh, you just train on your own?
I was in the affiliate for like a little while, but I immediately went to like I've always had a personal coach for everything. So like powerlifting, I had my coach who was the owner of the gym. Strongman, he coached me for that. Bodybuilding, I had a coach, Alberto Nunez from 3DMJ. And then so immediately I went online, I was like, remote coaches for CrossFit on Google.
It's like Ben Bergeron got shipped to me. There you go.
Yeah, dude. And yeah, he was actually one of the guys that popped up, but it was just, what was his training protocol called? His program?
Comp Train.
That was the only thing that popped up. And then I remember I saw Noah Olson on Instagram and I was like, dude, that dude looks crazy. Like just the way he looked, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I want to look like that. Like, who is this? Who coaches this guy? What does he do? I went to his page and I figured out it was Max El Haj. And then I looked on Max's thing, Training Think Tank. And so yeah, for 4 years now, I've been with Mia Gianelli from Training Think Tank.
Oh, that's dope, dude. They're really starting to take off, and they program for what I see. One of my close buddy works with them too. What I see, like they got a lot of really good programming. Tell me more about Counterculture, dude. Like, tell me why you started this specific brand and like what it means and what you're doing with the podcast.
Yeah, dude. I like kind of have a hard time describing counterculture because I feel like it's like in its infancy that we're in, right? It's been through a couple different phases. But really what it is at its core is just like I've kind of always been, this sounds like really interesting to say, but I've always been kind of rebellious, right? I feel like I was always like the kid up until like adulthood that like didn't really want to follow in society's like trends or norms or anything. Although podcasting is probably one of the trendiest things to do, right? But I'm big on, I guess really what it is like, I want to talk to a lot of people to help motivate, the everyday person. Because I feel like so many people are stuck in their mundane daily routines of like go to my 9 to 5 job and kind of just do what everybody tells me, happy life, happy wife type stuff, or happy wife, happy life, have a family, white picket fence, be okay with my 401k and my $70,000 per year job. And, don't worry about my health and traditional values are not good, all this stuff, and like really everything that's kind of promoted by culture, I like, that's exactly why it says counterculture. It's just trying to be like counter of what the culture is, because I think that culture has become so hellish almost, right? Like so many like bad things are promoted. Like kids are getting into drugs early. People are like promiscuous sex is crazy right now. Not that we haven't all dabbled in all these things, right? But like, I feel like so many of like society's old norms, such as like masculinity and like being abstinent or like not using drugs and all this shit is just like demonized, right? And I think that that's part of why we're seeing society crumble. And so I want to encourage people to be entrepreneurial or like have dreams and go out and chase them. And like if you don't want to drink and party, don't drink and party. Like there's no reason that you have to do it. And even like help motivate people like get a harder mindset, because I've been through struggles in life. I've been through depressions. I've been through the lowest of lows, the highest of highs. Even that, dude, I just feel like some people need a big brother to be like, hey, dude, get off your ass. Stop being a pussy. Stop crying every single day. Like go and do it. You know what I mean? Like more of a masculine voice. And so many things, like I said, that are demonized today, I just kind of want to help bring light to instead of having it like sit in the dark.
Yeah, that's dope. I want to hit a couple of things based off of that stuff. First, like I know last time I was on live with you, we talked a lot about like my background with drugs and alcohol. Like, tell us a little bit about yours, man. Have you ever struggled with any demons, whether they be internal or like external through like different vices, stuff like that?
My whole, not my whole family, but like a good amount of my family are alcoholics or were alcohol. I don't know. How do you say it? Were alcoholics or are? And so I like to say that I never really had a problem with alcohol, but alcohol had a problem with me for sure.
Yeah,
so like, I was never like a drink every day type of guy. I just couldn't, like, I could never justify that. But then the weekends that I had that I was going out to drink, I'd be drinking like twice a week or something. But it wasn't just like to like have a couple drinks. It'd always be like to get gnarly, right? To just get like messed up. And so, yeah, dude, I had a lot of struggles in terms of dealing with that. Because like I would always be able to justify, like, it's not a problem. I'm not drinking every single day. this, that, the third. But I think that a lot of people actually struggle more with not having that balance rather than like drinking every day type of issues. You know, we define alcoholism by having a dependency on alcohol, and most characteristics of it, I think, are people who drink every single day rather than like binge drinking twice on the weekend, right? I think that they can both be just as equal problem as the other. And
Right.
so, yeah, that's been really my only substance thing, like that I ever dealt with. Yeah, do you feel like you've been able to balance it since getting clean? Like alcohol hasn't been a problem for you?
You mean when I first got clean of opioids or like now?
Opioids. Like, were you always drinking? And like, did that ever stop? Like once you got clean and stuff, or did it like come later
No.
on?
So I turned 21, like I think around the same time I was starting to get off dope. And like I wasn't a drinker because I was doing that, you
Hmm.
know. And then when I first got clean, I became a super fitness freak dude. Like when, you know, like I did that, like how bad people do. Like I used to do it at the time, I was like 165 pounds. You know, like I was
Just
the Spartan.
Shredsville.
Yeah, I was the Spartan race, like love a 400-meter run CrossFitter. That's who I was. I wasn't the weightlifter. There was like skinny dogs, you know, not
Hell
hungry
yeah.
dogs, like
Yeah,
around
yeah.
there. So yeah, like, and I was like hyper, like, chicken, white rice, broccoli, like no drinking. And then you start a little bit like casually in the beginning. And then like right before my 30s, you know, like I start going through life starts lifing and you start to
Yeah.
let it get away from you if you're not disciplined, like I said, right? Like
Yep.
I came to just a realization a few months ago, like, dude, a lot of your goals and the things that you want just lie on the other side of discipline. Like that's all it would take. You
Yeah.
know, it's not like you have to freaking reinvent the wheel. Like a little bit of discipline here and there is gonna go a long way, you know?
Yeah. Well, tell me what you think about this. I've always thought so, and maybe this is just my way to justify not drinking anymore. But I like when I stopped drinking, I did 75 hard. And then I
Mhm.
remember drinking because 75 hard ended about 2 weeks before my birthday. And so we scheduled like a
Yeah.
pedal tavern. I know. We scheduled a pedal tavern. And so we went on that. And then I remember I remember like having my first sip of beer. And but 70 days clean or 75, whatever. And I had the
Yeah.
first sip of beer and I go, dude, this just does not hit like it used to. Right.
Right.
And as the night went on, I found myself like thinking, like, why am I doing this? Like, dude, we were getting hammed. Like here in Wisconsin, we just throw it down, right? So we were like,
Yeah.
we're getting sauced. And then the next day, I remember waking up, I was like, dude, that sucked. Like none of that was cool. Like I'm just,
Yeah.
and so what I kind of came to the realization, and again, tell me if you resonate with this or not, was I don't believe that anyone who's living a fully fulfilled, happy life turns to alcohol at any point. I don't believe that anybody actually likes the taste of alcohol either, because you take enough time off of it, you're not gonna like your palate's not gonna like it. And then I think that all of it tastes shitty. There's just better tasting shitty, right? And so
Yeah.
you get accustomed to it. That's why they say it's an acquired taste, right? But the biggest thing that I came to is just like, I really don't think that like I would need to be drinking at all, even like as an occasional, like have, go for fun. Like obviously alcohol can be a part of a healthy, normal lifestyle and people can like have their fun or whatever. But for
Right.
me, it was thinking like, I don't know why I would turn to this at all if I was doing exactly what I wanted to be doing in my life at all times. Do you resonate with
Yeah.
that?
I think that, like you said, that people can have the healthy, full lives with alcohol in it. I'm more of a like a your overall habits are going to dictate like who you are and
Yeah.
kind of how you feel and stuff like that. Because I'm thinking about what you were saying, right? Like the next day after, when you start to cut down on drinking, the next day after becomes worse and worse, and
So
you're like,
bad.
oh, I don't want to feel like that. You know, like I got shit
Yeah.
to do tomorrow, just like literally.
Yeah.
You realize for me, I could like look at my days like a lot, like and recap them and be like, okay, this is what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
This is what I got accomplished this day versus this is what I did yesterday and this is what I got accomplished that day. You know,
Yeah.
so it kind of just became the numbers for me. And I don't.
For me, I haven't put like an exact like I'm going to be sober for the rest of my life, because I think that maybe
Right.
there's a season in my life where I pick up, having a beer again or something. Like, it's
I think
not
it's
that
what
I'm
you
like,
said. If you're living, you're living, you know?
yeah, exactly. And it's like, just right now, there's no net positive that even one drink can offer me, right? And kind of like, to add to your point, discipline, dude. Like, I'm a true believer that if you do not live disciplined in every aspect of your life, like, you can't expect anything to work out the way that it should. So like,
Yeah.
because if you let in these, like, let's say that you're like on carnivore diet or something, right? And you're like, well, I can have an Oreo once a week. That's like fine, right? That once a week might last for 4 weeks. And then you're like, okay, so I haven't seen that much damage from one once a week. So maybe I do two like once a week. Then you have two. And
Right.
then it kind of just like bleeds into everything. Like, oh, I used to wake up at 5:30. Maybe I can wake up at 5:45 today. All these like different things just kind of slither in.
Right. Kobe's got that saying, like never negotiate with yourself. You
Yeah.
know, like whatever you say you're gonna do, just do it. Like don't like go back and forth. Like, oh, I know I said just like you were like 5:30, but 5:45 is just as good. Like, don't do that. Don't do that
Yeah,
shit. Just go do what you said you were gonna do. You
for
know.
sure, dude. Yeah. Live by
So
that.
so let's talk about some wacky stuff now, right? Like
Yeah.
I think that some of the movies out there that they make, like big Hollywood, since we're talking about big stuff,
Oh,
is like
conspiracies? Are we doing
yeah.
conspiracies? Let's go.
Hell yeah, bro.
All right.
Like I think some of the movies out there that they make are really big Hollywood, either the people on the inside like just playing in our face, or them like secretly telling us like, yo, this is what's going on right now, like some
Yeah.
whistleblower type stuff. Like Men in Black definitely probably going on out there.
Yeah, dude, for
Stuff like
sure.
that. Do you have you ever watched the movie and thought, yo, that's definitely real life?
Dude, clip this shit. All the movies, all the movies that are put out there are some sort of social programming. That's my belief. That's my belief.
Lord of the Rings, what's that one about? Tell me.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you, dude. Obviously there's so many conspiracy theories out there, right? But there's so many like stories from the Bible of like giants and stuff, right? And I think that what's really interesting to me is, okay, so obviously, big, like, I'm sorry to everybody with the hurricanes and stuff like that. Like, it sucks. It's not good. But like, dude,
Oh man.
look at some of that stuff that's going on. And then you see, like, I was watching this conspiracy channel. He's kind of a whack job, right? He's really wacky, but a lot of
Oh,
stuff that
whacked
he
out.
says, yeah, I forget what his name is, dude. But a lot of the stuff that he says doesn't seem that far out of reach when you like look at some of the government programs, right? And then you look at some of these movies that they've made about like big storms, like Day After Tomorrow. Is that what it was called? Day After
Yeah, it was.
Tomorrow,
I just watched
Twister.
that recently.
Yeah. And so when like watching that stuff, it's like it's almost like they do want you to get desensitized to some of these things that happen in real life, right? And I have to beg the question and wonder why. Because even when you look at like kids, dude, kids are so not in tune with real life because they're
Mm.
playing video games and they're like killing people in video games, and like a bunch of the stuff that they get to watch on TV has all that too, right? And so I think that, yeah, for me at least, I think a lot of these Hollywood things, not to get like too deep into it, but a lot of these Hollywood movies and shows and stuff is definitely social programming, dude, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that it's not still entertaining,
Right.
but
Would
yeah.
you want to know like the secrets? Like, they say there's a president's book out there. Like, how they release it, there's that there's supposedly been aliens at Area 51. Would you want to know the secrets?
That's funny, dude. Is this a viral question going around too? Because one of my clients actually asked me that.
I've
No?
heard it before, man. I've heard it before for sure. Like, I don't know if it's going around right now, but yeah, like I think
Yeah.
about that a lot. I wouldn't
This
want to know. Like, don't trust me with that information.
No, dude, hell no. My client asked me that too this week. I think on Monday, he was like, would you want, if they had a book and they had all the secrets of the world in this book and they came to you like, Justin, do you want to read this? I was like, hell no. Keep
Oh
that shit
man, yeah,
away from
right.
me, dude. No way. I'm
I saw
already
what
so
happened in
far gone in that
Transformers. I'm
feeling, man.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Dude,
You
I'm
know?
so far gone like in outer space with all that stuff anyway that if it was confirmed, I'd be like,
Yeah.
but dude, that's what I think is like really cool about the time that we live in right now is it's almost like we're in a movie. Like just the tables keep turning like every second. Like, the Diddy stuff, Trump just got
I was just gonna say that's so
Yes,
funny.
dude. Trump just got like an attempt assassination 2 times. Biden's clearly demented, and Kamala, we don't know what's going on with her. Like,
Wait, Kamala, they just let her get in there, get nominated, no
Yeah.
kind of nothing.
right? Yeah, it's just like we live in a clown world, dude. Like, it's just so interesting to see because like
Yeah.
I think about that often, right? And to touch on the Diddy thing, like my girlfriend came home on Tuesday last week and she was like, her and her coworkers had been talking about the Diddy thing. Her coworkers are like obsessed with it. She didn't know shit about it, right? And then she comes home and she's telling me, "Did you know Diddy's girlfriend?" Blah 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 blah. Like all this stuff, like kind of the Gilmore Girls version of like what's happening on with Diddy, right? And
yeah, like she learned that today kind of shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then so I was like, oh man, this is kind of cute seeing like the conspiracy like wheel go on in her head, right? And so then I started taking her down like all the like Masonic stuff and like the sex rituals and like all the crazy shit, right? The literally people think it's crazy shit, right? And she's like, no way, that's actually happening. I'm like, I don't know, dude, maybe, but it's just crazy to see that the conspiracy theorists for years were talking about Jeffrey Epstein. They were talking about the stuff with Diddy, the CIA, and all this stuff, and it's just like randomly coming to light. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, they've been trying to expose Diddy for a while. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, look at Biggie.
Yeah.
Like this all but confirms that like there was probably bigger forces at play, bigger chips at play on both
Free
sides.
Suge,
of that,
dude. Free Suge.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I think Suge was at a lower level doing some weird shit. Maybe not as sicko as Diddy, but like some other kind of nefarious shit there.
For sure. We gotta lock these people up, dude. I mean, I think it's just crazy, and then like you wonder why Justin Bieber and like Kanye are so like godly, Well,
Kanye is different side of the coin, same thing. His mom got, like basically sacrificed for him to have that career. She bought into the LA lifestyle. And for people out there listening, I mean, whether you want to think about it on, like a level like that, or just like she fell victim to it, like either one, they're the same thing,
Yeah, dude. I remember hearing the Kanye thing and I was like, dude, this is what happens. Like, it's just like, yeah, dude, I have such a hard time. I don't know, like exactly, where your podcast goes and like what you talk about like that much throughout the conversation. But dude, it's just like, it's almost hard for me to have conversations with people that just think all this stuff is not true or is like too crazy to be true. Because even if we take it to like surface level, right? It's like politicians and corporations are okay with killing our sons and daughters on a daily basis by sending them to other countries to fight in stuff that they don't even believe in, right? So like if they're willing to do that, why do you not think that they're gonna like that there could be some more nefarious stuff happening? Like I genuinely think that it's a spiritual war that's going on, not actually like worldly type stuff, right? So like if you even look at like that girl, what's her name, the spirit cooker woman, do you know what I'm talking about?
No idea about spirit cooker.
Oh, dude, you got to look this chick up. She's invited to all of the big Hollywood and like political parties. I forget what her name is, but they call her the spirit cooker. And she always like makes stuff that like looks like fake human sacrifice and like just dude, wild shit. And it's art, right? It's art. And I'm like, really? That's art? Like, why are politicians even like involved with that type of art in quotes, right? And then you look into like Bohemian Grove and all the things that happened there and Alex Jones infiltrating Bohemian Grove in like 1998 and you watch those tapes. Yeah, dude, it's crazy.
Do you think Diddy does time?
I think that they say he does time. Yeah.
And then
what do you think?
Something happens. I think I don't know. I think he drops a dime on somebody and then he does a couple years. I don't know if it's going to go as deep as some Epstein stuff, but we'll. I don't want to get canceled that bad.
Yeah.
Do you think this does Diddy affect Biggie's legacy?
Ooh, what do you mean? How so?
Do you look at Biggie? Does he drop down lower on your list after looking at his involvement with Diddy?
Because maybe he diddled Diddy.
Did Biggie Diddy? Is that why they call him Diddy? Did he get the Diddy from Biggie? Did Biggie give Diddy the diddler? Did Biggie give the diddler the Diddy? There you go.
Diddler the Diddy. Yeah. No, dude, I don't think so. I can separate the art from the person. What do you think? Does Biggie go down on your list?
I think he stays about where he is. He had a short body of work anyway, so
Yeah.
I don't know if he's in my top. He's not my top 10. Probably
He's not in your top 10?
Not top 5. Probably the top 10.
Okay. Who's your top 10?
Maybe though, because like, all right, let me see. Like the new people, I got Kendrick and Cole and Drake up there. Wayne, Andre 3000 is number 1. I probably go Andre, Nas, J. Cole,
Yeah.
Wayne, and then I'm probably gonna put Eminem somewhere up in there. That's what, 6. Jadakiss, Method Man, and I got 2 spots left. So, like, okay, Biggie might have rapped better than Jadakiss for 36 months.
Yeah.
But Jada got, how many years of rapping well. So in my top 10, I don't know if I put Biggie in, and it just rappers. And if I talk about influence, then Tupac is higher than Biggie,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But
I think, to be honest, Tupac would always be like top 1 for me. I'm just such a fan of his stuff, dude.
Influence wise, it's hard to put him anywhere outside of at least top 3,
For sure.
Does Diddy affect Meek Mill's legacy?
Meek's reputation has been messed up, dude.
Freak Mill.
Yeah,
he's got my favorite. He's got my favorite tweets out there. I love every time he tweets. He says some crazy shit.
Funny. Dude, people have been calling him gay for years too.
It was him in the pool with the fries. That's what got me.
Yes, dude. I think Meek's reputation is so done, dude. 6ix9ine punked him, bro. 6ix9ine punks you. You're over. Your career is over, dude.
A little bit of that is because like the 6ix9ine's demographic is on social media and shit as the crowd. It's like if you had a rap battle, right, and freaking all the people in the crowd is your friends, like you go away no matter what the 2 people are saying.
Yeah.
But off rap, right? Let's talk about a little bit of CrossFit game stuff. Like, I want your take on this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that trash talk has a place in sport?
Yeah, unequivocally, yes, dude. I've been saying that. I've been saying for CrossFit, like we need a McGregor bad boy for sure. And I think Colton's starting to do that. And
you think Colton's gonna be the bad boy?
Yeah, I think Colton's like kind of a friend of mine, right? So I love Colton and what he's been doing. Like he's come such a long way, dude, developing his character and his like kind of persona too. Yeah, I think he's gonna be that guy. But yeah, for sure, there's trash talk. Like trash talk needs, dude. How do you keep it interesting, right? What sells tickets?
Right.
Entertainment. And CrossFit, like for the longest time, has always been like, and not to anyone's fault, and not to talk shit, but it's been like this, like, and I'm a Christian, right? So I say this with my hands up to God, but it's been like the freaking stereotypical Christian good boy,
wholesome,
like, yeah, wholesome. Like, dude, yeah, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a wholesome Christian good boy too, but also there's like kind of a side of me that like is like, wants to get down, right?
Yeah, I
What's
think
your
CrossFit's too. I agree completely. I think CrossFit's too clean. I love what Colton's doing. On top of that, I would say that there's also like a platform out there that's developing in like reps ahead. I think that's really that head to head. They've been doing like pop ups like at all the different comps and stuff like that. I think that's a great platform for them to introduce that side of sport.
And you can put me on record saying this. You can do whatever you want with this, but like the majority of the majority of athletes have zero personality. Like, they don't like. I've been lucky enough to meet a lot of really cool ones, right? Like Colton, Kyra, like a bunch of people, right? Jesse Smith, all like a bunch of these people have personalities. But I would say that the majority of these CrossFit people have zero personality. And that's what's really tough, right? Because, and it's not to their own fault, but well, it kind of is, but the sport requires so much of you that it probably drains all of your energy, that it's hard to even be a person, because you have to be on all the freaking time, right? And so something that I think that, like, again, I'm going to defer to Colton. Something that he's done really well is that he's actually held a normal job. He has to do normal people shit. So he can actually like relate to the normal person. And then he like is able to talk shit and be entertaining because he understands that that's what normal people need. But at the same time, he has this other side of him that's so intense that he can like dial in where he needs to dial in, you know? And I think that a lot of these other CrossFitters just think that they need to 24/7, 388 days of the year be dialed in and on and can't do anything. I mean, even look at the way that I've been paying attention to some of the ways that they like influence and try to like sell people's products and shit, dude. I'm like, I would never buy anything with your code.
Bro,
you know, because like
it.
You took a picture that like didn't even say anything relevant to what the product is or any, like, why would I buy it with your code? Like, I'm going to go to the website, read it, unless you're my friend, you know, unless you're my friend, I'm going to go read what the product is about because you didn't tell me shit about it. And all that just to say that I think that CrossFit could definitely benefit more from the entertainment aspect rather than just focusing on like who the fittest is. Because obviously at the end of the day, whoever wins the CrossFit games is going to be the fittest. So I think that if they could do things like the open announcements are dope. It's super entertaining. If they could do more stuff like that throughout the year, which is kind of what it sounds like with Reps Ahead that they're doing, just having head-to-head things throughout the year. Right. If they did more shit like that and built up characters and built up like athletes throughout the year, yeah, that'd be amazing. I think way more people would be drawn to it because they'd get to see personalities within the sport.
Hell yeah, I agree. Have you on the WWE note, have you watched freaking the Vince McMahon documentary on ESPN?
No.
Dude, check it out. It is nuts. It's so good. Right. It tells this story in the beginning. I'll just tell you this a little bit, like about how his dad was like absentee in his life for the first like whatever 6-7 years, and he meets him, and his dad's the one that was first into wrestling, and like he eventually went on to buy the company from his dad. You know, his dad thought he couldn't do it, and then all this other shit. And like his relationships that he built with all these people throughout the decades. It's nuts, bro.
That's
like,
cool.
And it talks about like what I just said, you know, like him telling storylines and learning how to like play on the crowd and get people invested. And like, like you know, it's not exactly real, but you get bought in, you know, like he learned how to make a good guy and how to make a bad guy and all this shit. It's nuts.
Yeah, the problem that CrossFit faces is that like, though, they don't employ any of these athletes either. You know, like I do have a lot of like good things to say about CrossFit, but I think I have a hell of a lot more bad things to say in terms of like with that type of stuff, right? Because I would love to see that happen, but the problem is like they can't make it happen because they don't employ any of these people, so they can't actually like take charge of their life at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And then if you employ frickin', I mean, they might as well, like T is their golden goose, right? But like if she gets employed by them, then it's like playing favorites, you know. So that's what happens. But like, I'm sorry to spoil it for anyone out there. Like they talk about it multiple different times, like at WrestleManias, which is like the championships of WWE, WWF. Like a lot of times, like the big name people wouldn't know who was going to win the match like beforehand. So while stuff's kind of predetermined, who is the good guy, who is the bad guy, like they don't even tell you until you get into the match, you know. And there was a lot of like
that's crazy.
There's a lot of seniority stuff in play. There's a lot of like people getting backstabbed. Like there's one episode that's all about like one of the premier stars getting backstabbed, and he thinks he's going into a WrestleMania to win it and like go off into the golden gates, you know, think he's gonna retire after that. And they ended up backstabbing him and he loses in front of the crowd, and it's crazy, right?
So it's like fake drama, but that's actual real drama and real.
Exactly. You know, like it's fake drama that's real. And like that played into the whole storyline.
That's wild.
Like, Vince McMahon, he always had the last card to play. It's nuts.
That's really cool, actually. I'm gonna have to watch that.
But then when you put it in perspective of like CrossFit, right? Like they hired Tia to no longer promote whatever the name, Proven, her brand, because that's the problem they faced over the past decade and a half. That's the biggest change that I've seen, right? It went from when I went online, like all the stars in the sport were only promoting CrossFit as the brand, and now they're promoting their own brand. So like if Tia promotes CrossFit strictly instead of her brand, then that she shows up to the games to increase her brand, everyone's going to be looking at it like, oh, well, of course they're going to make sure that like she gets all the great calls because of X, Y, and Z. So they put themselves in that pickle, right? Like it's great. You've made the sexy people, the fit people, the stars that really promote your brand, but then you can't really maximize your usage of them.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
And that's the situation you're in right now, and then you have shit like you're talking about Colton, right? The prime example. And then he doesn't make it to the games.
I know, dude. But it's like such a good story though.
It is, but like it's his to tell, right? Like that happens in the WWE. Vince McMahon owns the right to tell your story. Like he gets to tell in the movie, the documentary, 5 years later, when you come back to fight again because you got backstabbed, like he makes the money off that and stuff. So yeah, it's a tough situation for CrossFit right now,
Yeah. What I wish that CrossFit did more of was like kind of along the same lines, but like I heard that they used to do this, but I wish they would like take, I don't know if they have a media team. And if they do, I wish they would take them and like do stories on people like Colton. Like you were a CrossFit Games athlete for like the past 4 or 5 years, however long he was in it. And like what did it feel like? And then show like his training kind of going up to now trying to re-qualify into the CrossFit Games. Like that type of stuff would be really interesting. They did?
They used to do that. Yeah, something similar to that. They would have like CrossFit made media that was like follow the athletes on their way to regionals and all that. And I think that they're not, I know, because I keep getting the fucking emails about it like every day and shit, that they're starting like a 2-sided media team again, and one side's going to be like for affiliates and stuff like that, and then the other side's going to be like, I guess, game centric kind of stuff. But just hire Saban. I don't know why the fuck you wouldn't do that. Like,
dude, he's probably making way more money doing what he's doing anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, he's put together. He's put together a really good team too, which it's pretty wild. It's crazy to see because he has given a new blueprint for like a small YouTube channel. Like, let's be real, he's got a small YouTube channel, right? But like it's a massive media machine with like 32,000 subscribers or whatever he's got. There are some YouTube channels with over like 1 million that don't have a team the way he does. It's crazy.
Doesn't have the engagement that he has,
Yeah, even that. But like what's crazy is that I hear whispers from people all the time when I go to events and stuff. Like he's a really good guy. He like helps people out. He like gets people this, he gets people that, he helps them like travel, whatever. I don't think that he gets the flowers that he deserves, dude. Genuinely.
Yeah. I think in the CrossFit media space, dude, I watched when freaking COVID was first happening. I sat at my house and watched Savan interview people at the old CrossFit offices, like for hours and hours. That's where that all started from. I don't know like how long you followed along with that, but he actually used to be on the media staff, and he did the early documentaries and stuff, and asked the behind the scenes questions. And then he started a podcast. Glassman would be on it, and a whole bunch of other people that were like, who's the dude that they did the Kill the Fat Man documentary on? Well, whatever that dude's name is, he would be on it. And then they fired everybody.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then that's where he started his podcast. It went from the video at the CrossFit offices to where he is now, like in his basement or whatever.
And look what happened, dude. Look what happened.
Oh my God. I know. You're telling me.
Yeah. It's wild.
Sometimes we create an animal, sometimes we create a monster. And I think that's what they did. So
yeah, it just seems to be CrossFit HQ, the brand, not not the exercise modality or whatever. It just seems to be that they just make so many like really dumb mistakes. I just don't. I like can't even put myself in the shoes or the position. Like I don't know how they keep missing the mark.
I know. How do you mess up that bad? I always think about that. Like, there must be something that I don't know because it looks bad from the outside,
Dude, and the problem, the biggest thing is too, is like, right, I think that I genuinely think that CrossFit should hit the masses, but they put not just CrossFit, but people in CrossFit too, like stop the growth of CrossFit by putting their foot in their mouth all the time, right? Like CrossFit does CrossFit already has a bad look from the outside in, right? And then they make a bunch of mistakes that kind of just keep preventing people from coming in. So like when you talk to somebody from the affiliates or whatever, they don't get much help from CrossFit HQ, and CrossFit HQ's media or like their promotional stuff even is like not very good for people that are like maybe 65 or 70 or whatever wanting to get into exercise. And like I've talked to some of my affiliate friends, they'll have conversations with people and they'll be like, we're a CrossFit gym, and the people will just like turn it down immediately just from the word CrossFit. And it's like,
Yeah.
it's almost like, do you even want growth to happen? And then some of the influencers too, in terms of CrossFit, it's like, I don't even know, like they say that they want CrossFit to grow a bunch, but then they're like all they do is shit talk, and all they do is like talk like down to people and stuff. And I'm like, where are we going, dude? Where are we going here?
It's tough. I think it's hard to make the distinction and even to make the decision to like, what do you want to do? Do you want to focus more on the athletes, or do you want to focus on the life changes that we could do? Like the methodology, as cliche as it sounds. So it's a tough thing back and forth. So like right now, like you talk about what does CrossFit HQ do for the affiliates? So they are starting to offer a little bit more advice as far as structure, like how to run your business, like the backside of it. They're like always doing all these calls. They're sending out a lot of information. There's a bunch of different like smaller platforms within the brand that you could work with to help you to like genuinely build out like standard operating procedures, shit like that. That's pretty much what they're doing. So they're not going full franchise mode yet. They're still like, hey, you pay your affiliation, your fee, with staying within good standing, and you can run at your gym however you want, right? So
yeah.
As someone that's like kind of done multiple different fitness things, do you think that like Don Fall, that's a CEO, he had a goal of getting to, I think, 30 million CrossFitters by like 2027 or something like that? Do you think that he could hit that goal with the structure currently of CrossFit? Like everyone could do their own thing there. I don't care what your gym looks like, where it is, all that stuff.
No shot, dude. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. I think that you see the drop off of like CrossFit affiliates for a reason, right? Like people like getting rid of the name CrossFit or the trademark after,
I think that's going back up. I think it's down.
Is it going back up?
I think it's currently on the up.
Okay.
People that with affiliates.
I personally so coming from like owning a gym to the background, like I think the one thing that like being a CrossFit affiliate does for you is that it's like free marketing, right? Or not free marketing. It costs like what, $5,000 to be an affiliate or something. But so when you type into Google gym or CrossFit or whatever, like your gym pops up immediately, and then you have the ability to get that person in a sales funnel and then make the sale, close the sale.
Right.
But do I think like 30 million CrossFitters, like, I don't even know if that's possible in general, dude, because I'm going to be totally real with you. Like the way that CrossFit is promoted and that the way that people look at CrossFit, the public opinion and the public eye, they still don't like it. And I think it's like, it's hard to conceptualize that as somebody that's deep in CrossFit, because I'll have these conversations with people that are in CrossFit where they just think that CrossFit's like a normal household thing.
Because everyone around them talks about it, right?
And it's just an echo chamber, right? Because CrossFitters hang out with CrossFitters, for the most part. And I'm really
definitely
lucky
fall victim to that a lot, I'm in that boat,
Yeah, and I'm really lucky that my CrossFit friends are like my CrossFit friends, like Roderick and all them, people that I don't actually hang out with all the time. I see them maybe once every couple months when we're traveling. But then my friends like barely do fitness in general. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so like I get the perspective from like the actual outside. I think CrossFitters think that the CrossFit world is so much bigger than it is. And it's like still such a niche community that it feels like it's a group of 45 people that are just going to go work out with each other and do weird like movements. Right. So like,
right.
I don't think so, because the general consensus of like the population at large is still intimidated by or thinks CrossFit is really dumb, Right. And so like, and I think part of that has to do with the marketing. Like I was talking to, I forget who I was talking to at the games, but like, the interlude like commercials for CrossFit was like people doing snatches.
And it was marketing to CrossFitters, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't even know who the marketing was for, right? So
whether or not that's what it's supposed to be, that's who it's going to.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Because like my mom has done CrossFit, right? But if she just saw someone doing it, if she never had the CrossFit experience and she saw someone doing a snatch, that wouldn't compute to her to like, oh, this is what I could do to get healthy.
Right. And so when I talk to people too, especially like older people, like the conversation that I had with my mom, right? I was paying for her to go to a CrossFit gym for a while. And she was like, I could never do that. I could never do CrossFit. And I'm like, no, mom, you can't. She's like, well, I've seen what they do. Like, you know what I mean? So like the marketing, like you can only convince somebody to do CrossFit, be it they're willing to actually have the conversation with you about CrossFit. And so like the marketing needs to be such that the person feels comfortable enough to go and have the conversation. But even if you have a 60-year-old that's doing snatches, it's still the barrier to entry doesn't look possible for the majority of just the Gen Pop, because they're like, I can't put a barbell over my head. They've been doing that forever. It doesn't matter if the person looks like they're actually fit or unfit. It doesn't matter, because they're just gonna be like, well, that person's been doing it forever. My excuse is that I can't do it. They don't understand that it's infinitely scalable. They don't even you can't even get to have that conversation with somebody because of the marketing materials that are out there.
Yeah, we have to communicate that part a lot better,
Yeah.
A conversation I used to have with my old affiliate owner all the time, right? Like, and she brought in this new general manager, and he's talking about like marketing and stuff. And I see a lot of other affiliates do it. They market like the certifications of the coaches in there. Right. And like we had like the gym owner was a seminar staff member on level 4, like the highest accreditation in CrossFit. Right. But they market that like on the website and all this stuff. And I'm like, that only matters to people that do CrossFit. And like the people that do CrossFit, it only matters to the people that keep up with that. So you're talking about 1% of 1%, and you're trying to bring in people that don't do CrossFit, right? Like you're trying to market to as many people as you can. Like you throw out your hooks and you hopefully catch 1 or 2, right? Like not like, oh, I'm going to shoot at this dartboard at dead center and try to convert that person to a member. Like you're marketing to other affiliates. Like that's all you're doing, right?
They might want to snipe the person or whatever too. You know what I mean? Like, oh, he's an L4. That means something to me.
Well, I mean, to talk about just from like customers wise, right? You're trying to build a membership so you can have a successful business, and you're marketing to a percentage of a percentage with what you're putting out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like 70% of our own gym didn't know what those fucking certifications meant. Like, you know, like that's just it's dumb.
Me and Tanner Shuck and I actually talked about that in our podcast, where he's like, how often have you actually been asked about how many certifications you have or what certifications you have? And I was like, to be honest with you, I've never been asked that. Besides no client has ever asked me that. The only people that have ever asked me that was like when I went to go get a corporate sales job in in a gym, because I agree with you. I think that sales in a corporate setting is like a really good idea for most people. So I did that and they asked me, and then the only other time has been from like people who are interested in getting into personal training, strength and conditioning. And they're like, what certs do you have? What would you recommend? But
how can I become better?
Exactly. And so Roderick and I had a conversation after that, on the phone, and I was telling him, cause we were talking about like the CrossFit debate or whatever. He was like, just trying to like give me his perspective on some stuff. And I was like, one of the things that came up was the certification thing. And I was like, dude, unfortunately, CrossFit L1, L2, L3, L4, no one respects it. No one cares. Like anybody outside of the CrossFit world has zero idea of what that means or like what education is behind it. And I guess the L3 is now accredited worldwide or something. Like there's actual validity towards it.
The L3 and the 4 are going to get bigger respect now because they just got bigger accreditation in the past year.
Yeah. So, but the problem though still lies that it has to get to that point, right? And unfortunately, CrossFit has already made such a bad reputation for itself that I don't even know if that's possible for it to happen. Like it may have been accredited and stuff, but like will society at large be in agreement with it, or will they respect it? I don't know. Who knows, right? I hope so. But the thing is, like, if you have an L1 or L2, no one even knows what that means. Like literally nobody. I could ask a personal trainer in a bodybuilding gym around here, just go up to them and say, hey, do you know what the CrossFit L1 is? They'll be like, no. Right. You get what I'm saying? So, yeah. That's
so
my
leaders got to lead. leaders got to lead from the front. It's pretty much what that all comes down to for CrossFit. Hopefully they make better decisions in their growth, going forward.
Yeah.
So, bro, we've been talking for a while here.
Yeah.
Speaking of growth, what are you hungry for, man? Like, what are your goals looking like right now?
That's a good question, dude. I want to stack another million in my account because I already have 10.
Let's go.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, that's a good question because lately the past couple months I found myself kind of in a lull, to be honest. Trying to figure that out and see like what are my goals, what am I doing? And really I kind of came to the conclusion that what I want to do is just be able to continue to live life on my own terms, make money to support my family, and try to create something big. And so, yeah, dude, I'm hungry just for personal development, just for personal growth every single day, fighting for that. I'm hungry to make this podcast into something, because I feel like we all are fighting like the haters that we don't actually have in our head too, to kind of prove somebody wrong.
I've tried to mentally get rid of that thought process too. That's one thing I'm really working on right now.
But for some people, dude, it's like that's the driving energy, right? Like, so if that serves you, carry on with it, right? Like,
right.
But it's a double-edged sword because who gives a shit about what other people think at the same time, right? So yeah, hungry, dude. I'm hungry to just keep growing. That's about it.
Yeah.
Just doing hard shit every single day and trying to grow this pod. That's it.
Hell yeah.
Let me ask you
Feel
that.
that, bro. What am I hungry for?
Yeah.
So right now I'm hungry for this gym to get up and running, to fully launch. I'm planning some of the first things for it, like some of the soft launches, and I'm gonna try to do some cool stuff with that and make it a like dream come true kind of situation. Do some big things in there. Got a little event coming up this weekend. Not at my future gym, at the gym that I currently coach at. But that's going to help promote it and do some stuff with it, man. And just like you said, like I'm hungry to keep going. Like as far as the podcast, like I want to keep having like dope conversations, learn about people, like spreading their stories and stuff. I have an idea for a new podcast that I think I'm going to start soon. So I'll be reaching out about that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, bro, the construction should be started either next week or the week after that, man. And I'm hyped.
So did you buy this space? What's the deal? Are you leasing it?
I'm leasing it. Me and the realtor, we've been looking over the past like 5 months. We found something that's like 3,000 square feet. It used to be a daycare. The before that it was a dentist's office, and the dude still owns it. We rented a bunch of places around here, so got it for a good price. And they just started going from there. Yeah, so I already affiliated.
Cool.
By the time this episode comes out, like it'll probably be announced somewhere else already. So the name of the affiliate is CrossFit Hungry Dog Athletics. And then Hungry Dog Barbell is already like my weightlifting team. So like it'll operate as both of those, and then like Hungry Dog Athletics is like the LLC name too. So it'll just operate as Hungry Dog Athletics essentially. I'll market it as a CrossFit gym, but it'll be all good.
Well, you look like you're crushing it, dude. Every time I see your stuff like on Sundays, I'm like, damn, that dude has a lot of people, bro.
So the gym that I'm at right now, like I've been having relationships with them for a long time. They're a 15-year affiliate. In the area that I live in, there's like a lot of like old affiliates. So I've been able to be at some good homes and stuff. So like I've been able to avoid like the CrossFit fail kind of timeline and shit like that.
Good.
There's mad people at their gym. It's been good to be there in this tenure in between. Like my old head coaching job, like we all coach a certain kind of way, and it was just a different kind of vibe. And when you move to a different location, obviously it's going to be a little bit different. So to be there and kind of see what their culture has been like before I go and like form my own has been like a good time,
Hell yeah, dude. That's cool. Well, I'm happy for you, bro. Congrats.
But all right, dog, it's been a great conversation, man. You got like any last things to drop on the people at the end here?
That's it, dude. That's it. Just keep pushing, work hard every day, do something that gets you kind of uncomfortable every single day. And yeah, man, that's all.
Hell yeah. All right, dogs, we're gonna get out of here. Peace.